No more timeouts to take here. Game on the line.
No.
That's Williams in motion. Low snap. Milroe stopped. Michigan makes a stand.
Jalen Milroe, what are we doing, man? We gotta make a play happen on the ball. I do not know what the play call was for that moment, but that was the biggest play for me watching, at least, because that's what really determined what was gonna happen to my hair. Let me go ahead and show y'all what happened since Alabama unfortunately lost. It was awful. I lost all my hair, lost everything, lost myself. But man, I gotta keep that bet because I made it. It was just so unfortunate the way that happened and the way they lost. I could not believe it. It was literally a nail biter. It was just like coming down to the wires, like please get in, please get in. Of course they did not get in. But with nothing less, let's get on to the highlights. Got the trusty VHS here that's going to be playing in the background and the top plays of the game that was happening. So let's pop this bad boy in and here we go. We're covering the Sugar Bowl and the Rose Bowl. We're going to be covering the Rose Bowl first. Alabama did fall short to Michigan, 20-27. Man, it was such a good, close game. Let's get on to the Alabama stats. Top passer, the QB himself, Jalen Milroe, 16 for 23, 116 yards passing, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, with 1 fumble. I mean, that fumble was costly. It didn't cost him too much in the moment because it did show that the kicker missed the field goal off that drive, but man, that broke my heart. Let's go ahead and check out that fumble real quick.
Tries to bounce outside, fumbles, ball's on the ground.
Man, whenever you're running, just hold that ball a bit tighter. I mean, I know that guy's a pretty hefty dude. Just, man, that game could have gone different if we had that drive with us. But let's get on to the top rusher for Alabama. Here we go. Top rusher was Jace McCollum, 14 carries, 87 yards with 2 touchdowns. Man, that kid was zooming on that field today. Amazing the way he was running through that pocket. Let's watch this best play that he had of the day. Here we go.
McClellan through a crease, a foot race. They won't catch him. Touchdown Tide.
I mean, just cuts right through the hole, gets right past the corner, through the safety, to the touchdown, never looking back. That was a good touchdown that he had. Let's get on to the top receiving core for Alabama. Here we go. Top receiver was Isaiah Bond with 4 receptions, 47 yards, and 0 touchdowns. I mean, not much the receivers could have done. They all looked the same, really. They didn't have any stats that were popping or jaw-dropping because Monroe couldn't get the ball out. They had no time. They had 5 sacks in the first half. That was a college football record for the most sacks in one half. I mean, man, that was crazy. Obviously for the semifinals championship, not for just all time, but it was a record for the semifinals championship, 5 sacks in one half. After that, they only had 1 sack in the second half, but he was just getting pressured so much it felt like he was about to get sacked every play. It was not fun to watch, I would say that. For Monroe, at least. It was fun. It's fun for me to watch because it was keeping me on the edge of my seat, but Monroe, I felt so bad for him out there. He was getting suffocated nonstop. Let's get on to the top player of the defense for Alabama. Here we go. Top player for Alabama was Dallas Turner. He had 1 sack, 2 tackles, and 1 assist. Alabama only had 1 sack of the whole game, and it was that man right there. No interceptions for them. Let's get on to the Michigan side of the ball. Here we go. Top passer for Michigan, of course, the one and only J.J. McCarthy. He went 17 for 27, 221 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Man, it was a phenomenal game. He had definitely the MVP for that game and definitely the MVP for Michigan. He was on something that game, and especially the way he was getting hit and just launching them. It was a beauty of talent. But let's get on to the top rusher for Michigan. Here we go. We had Blake Corum, the top rusher for Michigan. He had 19 carries, 83 yards with 2 touchdowns. 2 total touchdowns, I might go along with that. He had 2 receptions for 34 yards, and one of those receptions was a touchdown. Let's go ahead and check it out.
Form in the flat. Blake's got it inside the 5.
Such a beautiful route. McCarthy hit him wide open, and he never looked back, just walking into the end zone. The running back himself had a pretty damn good day for him, too. You can consider him the MVP if you really wanted to. I mean, he was phenomenal, outflat, just phenomenal. Let's go on to the receiving core for Michigan. Here we go. Top receiver for the Michigan was Roman Wilson, 4 receptions, 73 yards, and a tutty to go along with Tyler Morris, 2 receptions, 47 yards, and 1 tutty. I mean, they both had a pretty good game for themselves. Michigan was pretty evenly with the ball, spacing it out between the receivers. They had more time for their QB to make a dependable choice on who he was going to throw it to and let the receivers go out and make an amazing play. But let's see what Michigan defense had on store for us. Top player for the Michigan defense was Brandon McGregor, 2 sacks and 2 tackles. So those 2 tackles becoming his 2 sacks. Michigan had 6 total sacks of the night, though. I mean, the whole defensive line was eating the offensive line up. They were just getting through like there was nobody even there. Monroe was not even having any time to think about, oh, fuck, which way should I go, left or right? Man, fuck, I don't even know. I just have time to get sacked. That's all. But, man, I wish he just had a bit more time. And also, this is just me complaining real quick. The center kept on throwing it to Monroe's ankles. Like, what are we doing? You've been playing the game since you were 5 years old. Can we please get a center out here that can snap it to his chest so he doesn't have to bend down every time? That would be very much helpful. But let's go ahead and check out the top play of the game. Here we go.
Tight ends in the game, Bredesen and Barner. And Edwards, who can throw it, lobs it back to McCarthy, who has to retreat to make a one-handed grab and tosses downhill to Roman Wilson.
It was a beautiful, beautiful catch. Not really catch, beautiful throw, I might add at that, because he was going to rush. He couldn't really see. I don't know how he had enough even just like room to like let his arm launch that shit, because it was like very compact. That guy was hitting him whenever he let the ball go, and then he just took a face to the dirt. Just I'm glad he did get up from that scary hit though, because he did hit the ground pretty hard. But without further ado, that's gonna wrap it up for the Rose Bowl game. Let's get on to the Sugar Bowl game. Here we go. Alrighty, for the Sugar Bowl, we had Washington at Texas Longhorns. Man, this was the nail biter. My goodness, I could not take my eyes off this game. I was glued to my seat the whole 2 hours this game was going on. It was amazing. Washington did get the dub, 37-31 over Texas. It was a beautiful game. Let's just go ahead and get to the stats here. For Washington, our top passer, the MVP, maybe any bowl game, to be honest. This was an amazing performance by him. Michael Penix Jr., 28 for 39, 430 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. It was amazing. He made college football history. He was the 5th player ever to have 70% completion rate, to have 400 yards or more on the night too. I mean, it was something out of this world. He just lasers that thing in there. Precision, just straight up, nailing every throw that he made. It was beautiful. But let's get on to the top rusher for Washington. I mean, this guy felt like the only running back out there for Washington. Dylan Jones, 21 carries, 49 yards with 2 touchdowns. I mean, it was a pretty great night for him, not gonna lie, but they need to take him out of the game at like the 4th quarter. I get that he wants to try to do more and seal the game for him to get that first down, but let's just go ahead and watch this play.
Turn around. Michael knew the offense.
And not to mention, he was already limping before this was happening. Like, take him out of the game. Let him rest so y'all can have him for the national championship. You'll have other running backs. Trust your guys. I mean, I know it's a big point of a game, but man, coaching needs to do better in evaluating their running backs. He was out there all game, it felt like. My God. Alrighty, on to the top receivers for Washington. We had Roman Dunze with 6 receptions, 125 yards and 0 touchdowns. But man, I love watching this kid catch the ball. It's like he has stickum on his hand. Let's go ahead and watch this catch right here real quick.
Get above 400, and he's on target.
I mean, he's amazing. He might be the best receiver other than Marvin Harrison Jr. in the draft class. He's going to be phenomenal. I hope to see he goes to a good team. They still have a championship to play, but my God, I just love watching him catch the ball. It is something special. For the other big receiver, he had another good night. Jalen Polk, 5 receptions, 122 yards with 1 touchdown. He is also very dominant this game. I also had Jalen McMillan, 5 receptions, 58 yards with this tutty. Check out this tutty.
In the end zone, touchdown!
Penix Jr. just slings it in there. Fucking like throwing a dart, trying to get it on the dartboard in the bullseye. Got it right there, right in the hands of him, right between 2 defenders. The guys didn't even know the ball was coming. That's how fast the ball was going, I think. It was something amazing. But that's going to wrap it up for Washington side of the football. Let's go on to Texas. Here we go. And for Texas side of the football, we had Quinn Ewers, 24 for 43, 318 yards, 1 touchdown, and 0 interceptions. I mean, not an awful game, but nothing like you want to be playing in this big of a moment. You have Penix Jr. showing you out, making 70% of his completions with 430 yards. And you barely have over 50% of your completions for 318 yards, which is not that bad, to be honest. Not 318 yards ain't bad, but one touchdown, man, you gotta hit those receivers better in the end zone. Or you just gotta make smarter plays to get down there in the end zone. I mean, I get your running backs with fumbling too. 4 fumbles on the night. That is not good for the Texans at all, because they had those opportunities to score if those running backs never fumbled. But I mean, Quinn Ewers, he was protected with the ball, smart decision making. Not really much to say about him other than maybe get the ball there in a bit more urgency. I mean, this last play, let's check it out real quick.
For the national championship game, Ewers.
I feel like with his lobs and whatever, he could have maybe thrown I feel like maybe a dart to the back left shoulder. That way he could have maybe dove for it or just spread his body out a bit more, staying in bounds. But I'm not the quarterback. I never played professional football, or college ball. Haven't played since high school freshman year, so it's beyond me on what he was thinking and how they wanted to close that game out. But let's get on to the leading rusher for Texas. Here we go. Alrighty, we had 2 good running backs out here that were getting the ball pretty evenly for Texas. We had C.J. Braxter, 9 carries, 64 yards, and a tutty, and 2 fumbles. Unfortunately, those fumbles really did cost them big time because they could have scored without giving Washington the opportunity to score back. But Jaden Blue with 9 carries, 59 yards, 1 tutty, and 2 fumbles. I mean, they were nearly identical with the way they played, except Jaden Blue had this really nice catch. Let's go ahead and check this catch out real quick.
Tips, and afterwards, the ball really doesn't move a lot. I think they're going to let this call stand.
I mean, he just went up and snagged that and then also got the toe drag swag, because that was leading up to the point to where they had their game-winning drive almost. If they would have gotten a touchdown, they would have won the game. So, I mean, it was a very clutch catch that he had to put him in the position to score. So, for him for making that play, but just wasn't enough to keep him alive. Without those 4 fumbles, who knows what Texas could have accomplished. Let's get on to the receiving core for Texas. Here we go. Deion Sanders, 6 receptions, 75 yards with 0 touchdowns, but he did have a pretty monster game for himself. He was out there making pretty big plays. Let's go ahead and check this catch out.
But he might get in the game.
I mean, I feel like he just knows how to catch the ball and kind of really move with the ball too. He knows how to make yards after the catch, which is very, very good for him. But another big player for Texas on the receiving core was Donde Mitchell with 4 receptions, 32 yards, and a big touchdown. Let's check that touchdown out real quick.
They faked it to him.
And he just went up there and mossed the guy. I think that's what they were trying to do the last play. They just couldn't execute it the way they wanted to. Which, I mean, I get it. That's probably the best play y'all had because Mitchell just made that big play right there. So they trusted the ball to him. But, I mean, y'all haven't even looked worthy that whole game. I would maybe try to give him the ball on a little slant route. But that's just my point of thought on maybe the last play of the game, except for maybe just going a jump ball 50-50 and expecting that guy just swatting the shit out of it. My God, that was a LeBron James type block. That was a nice-ass block. Let's actually watch that real quick.
Lobs it up, and it is incomplete!
But let's get on to the top player for Texas was Jalen Ford. 6 tackles for 4 assists. I mean, not bad considering Texas had 0 sacks and 0 interceptions the whole game. So it's not like their defense was really doing much anyway. They'll have a top 5 defense in college football. They need to be more productive out there. They need to show the aggressiveness that they had all seasons. I didn't see it in this game at all. I did not see the Texas defense trying to be aggressive and really trying to get after the QB, in my opinion. But let's go ahead and check out the top play of the game. Here we go.
Penix launches one deep, and it is caught by Roma Dunes.
Penix Jr. just puts that ball on a tightrope. My goodness, he just delivers it. He delivers it in a breadbasket that not much quarterbacks can fit into. I mean, I saw this one thing where any QB can hit the door. A good QB can hit the door. Now, Michael Penix Jr. can hit the keyhole. And I believe that. He is something special. You can wrap it up for the Sugar Bowl and this segment. Like I said, the Rose Bowl score 20-27, Michigan coming out on top. The Sugar Bowl score 37-31 with Washington coming out on top. I cannot wait to watch Michigan versus Washington. Both undefeated teams, 14-0 versus 14-0. Number 1 versus number 2. It's gonna be a clash. It's gonna be amazing. I have Washington to win. And if they don't, I mean, I might have to promise y'all that I will shave my eyebrows. Don't hold me to it, but I might have to promise y'all I will shave my eyebrows. I cannot wait to watch that game, but with nothing less to cover. What up for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening to the First and More I'm your host, Preston, and as always, have an amazing day.